Hey guys, welcome to another session of RBTL. I don't do these a lot anymore in terms of like every single week, but this one is big enough that I think it's good to just put my thoughts out there in case you guys ask. I know some of you guys do appreciate my opinion, so I do appreciate that as well. People come on stream and say, hey Jagan, what do you think about this? I recommend you watch the videos. But otherwise, yes, so prior which we talked about the buff. I think him and Spez are really good now. I think her buff honestly is exactly what she needed. I know people have doubts on it for some reason, but if you have guiding light, I think that should be the best artifact. One has damage mitigation, the other one, it doesn't, you know, force her into the immortal as fast as people might like, but either way, just having like more buffs probably good, except I guess people using Landy versus her. That means that you'll probably see her a lot more now used in RTA. With that immortality, she'll pretty much, and immunity, so she could be tanky, doesn't have to be super fast, with immunity, high effectiveness, and I think she's going to be a very, very good disabler, not needing to speed contend, which is one of the biggest things right now. Yeah, so staying in stealth, damage mitigation, and then be able to strip, and then make them unbuffable, and also reduce attack down, very good. Specimen says a lot of people are going for the bruiser kind of theory craft right now. Be very, very interesting, although I have to say with Politis, I think that's her name, released, Spez may not be as crazy as, you know, we thought, just because of he's gaining a lot of like CR manipulation, being able to CR boost himself and stuff like that. But then we get a hero, which I will make on another, like a separate video, my initial thoughts on the new fire mage Politis. Cowrick, I'm on the fence about. I know some people are already really excited about his buff and already planning on building him, how they want to use him. I'm more reserved on this one, mainly because he gets a stealth. I don't know if it's just his skill order to me is a bit odd, and just keep in mind that he does have a ZE. Although that being said, I am farming his friendship. I think some people on the Twitch stream did see me and asked, hey, you're using him, I see him in the lobby, what do you like, what's his build or whatnot, but I'm leveling his friendship just in case he becomes decent. Haste, you know what, I'm okay with like a hero specifically dealing with elements, like, you know, earth element in this case, but people are saying golem killer. I have a haste now finally, but the buffs don't really make me want to build her. Yuna on the other hand is seemingly to be gonna be built, I think, as mainly a bruiser, like bruiser type play, because she can do a lot of damage over time, and now with her turn cycling better and potential greater attack buff, it depends on if that's the EE you're going with. Some people are going with the S3 EE, does 30% extra damage, so that's crazy. That's, you know, the best portrait, quote unquote, in the game, and it stacks with portrait too, so Free Spiriteria, decent buff, very good buff actually for new players. The other ones I'm gonna skip. I did make a separate video on my thoughts on it, and it hasn't really changed. Automaton Tower Renewal, this one's big. So during the live stream, I was there for it. I don't know if it was a mistake. I'm not quite sure about it, and so this video, the purpose of this is not to say someone is wrong, but it does feel like the patch notes given to us here in terms of, let's say, rewards, okay, rewards specifically, doesn't feel like they aligned. I don't know if other people picked up on that. Let me know in the comments below if that's what you think, but don't worry, we're gonna see this in like a couple hours. By the time you watch this, we're gonna see this in like a couple hours, so I guess it doesn't matter. The good old people on Reddit had made a comparison chart. I don't know if you guys can see the full thing. Hold on, I might have to zoom in here. I can't, frick, I'm scuffed. There's a comparison chart. If you can zoom in, the rewards don't seem to be as big as what the CMs are talking about. It's better. Overall it's better because you also get better gear out of it, so 100%, but I don't think it's as big as like saying, like, you know, Smilegate is, you know, handing us like a Christmas gift or whatever. While that being said, I think it's gonna be because it's a new mode, and just because like they call them equipment or devices that you can get through this game mode. Now, I think it's gonna make it very exciting. So you're gonna get heroes to do stuff that they don't usually get to do. So I like that aspect. It's like kind of modifying a hero with like these, they're called devices, yeah. Which is pretty cool. I mean, if you read some of the examples here, and if you were live on the stream, or you saw like preview videos on how this works, it looks pretty fun. Like, you know, people getting like, you know, pretty much RNL or dust level abilities on, you know, heroes that usually wouldn't. You can see here, like, whenever someone turns ends, increases combat readiness of the soldier by 10%. You can stack them multiple times too, like if you have multiple levels here. So let's say, for example, this one, level 1 front row counterattack device. So when a hero in front row is attacked, has 50%, so that's level 1, and 100% if you get level 2, chance to counterattack. So if you pick up 2 of these, you have like that aspect to it, right? So that's pretty cool. So yeah, these are all the device categories. It's definitely a big read, and I think that even with fully reading it, and with compared to what I saw on stream, it's still a lot. So I think there's gonna be a lot of messing around for every single player. In terms of my reserves on this mode, I've said this throughout many live streams. It's more of like, this is a human psychology. All right, this is just the psychology thing. Is that when we get new stuff, it's gonna feel fresh. Over time, everything gets stale. Wyvern 13 is stale, but it's autoable. All right, it's autoable, and it's the only way that people can progress. So like we're bound to do it. The only thing that's not as stale right now is RTA, because it organically changes the meta shifts with, you know, with skill and ability, with your gear level and stuff like that. And the other thing about RTA is that it's free, in terms of it costs you 0, no skystone, no currency within game. You can play it unlimited. So it is, Epic 7 right now is a very, very healthy game in terms of that. No other gacha game I know of has an unlimited game mode. Everything is usually, you know, behind some kind of paywall or some time wall. In terms of Automaton Tower, this new one, I think it's gonna be fresh for a while. I just keep in mind it is every 2 weeks the refresh now. So when the original Automaton Tower came out, we were all excited about it every single month. But I think after like the 3rd month or whatever, we were just kind of like, oh, it's Automaton Tower, thanks. Gonna get my Elson now. Gonna get my Elson, but we still did it because we have to do it, and no one in their right mind would skip Automaton Tower. My fear for this is that this seems to be a game mode that seems to be requiring more engagement. So this being like you know, a sort of an idle farming game. I know Smilegate wants to put their heart and soul into this game and allow players to really, like, you know, don't speed through it. That's why they don't give us, you know, 2 times farming speed or skip S3 animation. They want us to experience this game like they do, which is like full of passion. I 100% agree with it. The only other issue though is that, I mean, at least some people have jobs, right? They have school and stuff like that. So there's like this balance they have to still strike, where you can't force the player to engage with it every day. Otherwise, you're gonna lose a lot of the player base. That's why a lot of the idle games out on the market are very successful, because they don't require much. It's very weird. It is a weird thing, I know, but I'm just saying, human psychology. This is just how we work. The other thing is like the difficulty versus the reward, right? So yes, the rewards are overall better, but is the difficulty much harder? Or because the rewards are similar to the previous Automaton Tower, is the difficulty going to be like the hardest difficulty? Is it going to be similar to what we have right now? All those will be answered soon, but the scary thing about it being too difficult would be that it will demoralize players, just like how Automaton Tower, when it was first released, no one could beat floor 100, or at least a very selected few people could beat floor 100, and then they had to nerf it to the ground, and then it became just a boring chore. So it is a difficult thing to do game design, and Smilegates has my sympathies, but I am what I will say is this: I will compliment them on creating this game mode, and it looks really like, it looks like a lot of fun, right? It does look like a lot of fun. Okay, so that being said, let's move on. So 5-star hero Archdemon's Shadow is here. If you saw my initial thoughts video, that's pretty much it. I'm still not, my mind hasn't changed about her. I think she's gonna be good, but somehow that Politis Fire Mage reveal was shown, and all of a sudden I feel that she's much better than Archdemon's Shadow. In both cases, both heroes has a mechanics that counters a whole slew of heroes. So in the past, like if they release like a Lilibet or something like that, or you know, a buffed Ice Cigarette, although Ice Cigarette is really good for Wyvern, but let's say like they buff a hero or they create a hero, it's just like, oh yeah, this is a counter for FCC, this is a counter for RB, this is a counter for T-Serum or something like that. It's more or less like more manageable, right? Archdemon Shadow, although a lot of people, again, I've seen the comments on my initial thoughts video, so don't worry guys, I actually read the comments. I know you guys aren't sold on her, and it seems that the community managers weren't really sold on her either. I feel like the ceiling mechanic is like really good, but now with Politis out, I'm more scared, because the ceiling mechanic stops not only a couple heroes, it stops basically like entire category of heroes, basically any hero with a passive. And Politis release being an RGB, which means more accessible, not limited, it also deals with similar things as in a whole category of heroes. So CR boosters mainly, or people who can do CR boost, like RB, T-Serum herself, Rowana, anyone with any sort of CR boost, Politis just like kind of shoves it into the ground. But anyways, more on that later on my Politis video. I think she's gonna be very solid. I would say that in this portion I want to spend on this is that Smilegate took, I think, the feedback, the outrage from most of the players, especially on the Korean side, and they made it more manageable. I have to say that this is a good change. Sure, like they kind of messed up on the English voice or whatever. Apparently the Japanese voice is amazing. I haven't heard it, but apparently it's amazing, so I might have to switch to the JP voice pack. But the Jagan X voice pack though, when Smilegate, notice me senpai. Just kidding. Time spent as 1. This is the part that's kind of like more amazing to me. So basically it's a twofold thing. One, it kind of quenches the rage, hopefully. Actually, I don't know if the Korean side is feeling happier about this change, but you'll be able to spend this with 10 gold transmit stone, and it's basically a free imprint. So what that means is that even though Archdemon's Shadow will be you know, it's not a limited ML5, right? So like over time, let's say you know, like months after her release, you pull a Moonlight and you get her as a dupe, and let's say you use your gold transmit stone and she's triple S, that copy will serve 0 purpose unless you're building 2, right? That being said, it's not a bad thing. This is amazing, all right? Don't get me wrong. If I always sound like I'm skeptical, I'm always trying to balance both positive and negative. But the gold transmit stone thing, this is like a free guaranteed ML. Yes, 6 gold transmit stone equals 1 ML, but in terms of 10, anyone would kill for this. So I think the only thing people would say is that just like, oh, you know, it's not gonna be that good in terms of her imprint. It sucks anyway, but this is still good, right? In terms of value, this is amazing. So what you need is literally the 1 copy you can pull from Mystics. They didn't remove her from the original plans in terms of the coins. Okay, so this gold transmit stone, in terms of the imprint itself, they did not at least based on the live stream I watched last night, they did not plan to remove her being available in the coin shop after her Mystic Banner rotation. That being said, if you don't have the coins, then yeah, you still don't have the copy, but then it means that you don't have to buy this that quick. But by anytime you get Archdemon Shadow, you can max imprint her, no problem. In my opinion, this is definitely worth it. So if you have an unknown slate, save it for someone else. Save it for someone else. It could be another ML, but definitely don't use it on her. Based on the imprint itself, it's just not that valuable. It's attack imprint. You would never on unknown slate an attack imprint. It's always speed or crit rate at the max, at the most. And then yeah, just go for this. So this gives me more incentive to actually want to pull her as well, because then I don't even need to use coins to use her as an imprint. I could just use gold transmit stone. In my opinion, it's good. Oops, I zoomed in. So very good change in my opinion. When I saw that on the live stream, I was like, man, Smilegate, I feel that they know the balance between like what's fair and, you know, what they need to do to still make money as a company. I think they're really generous. If people are still complaining about this in terms of like just the gold transmit stone thing, they got to take a look at themselves, man. Like, I'm not usually that toxic. I'm not usually that toxic, but you got to look at yourself, man. I don't think it gets any more generous than that. All right, very excited about it. Drop rate on these two heroes, Cecilia. So Fallen Cecilia is most likely gonna come back, guys. Just keep that in mind. If you still see Fallen Cecilia used everywhere in RTA, if it really helps you, you know, do it. FCC ran one of the highest pre-bans right now because FCC, you know, bothers with the kind of the Cerise, sort of the Cerise meta, the F10E meta, you know, Sage Baal meta, whatever meta you want to talk about, and even Cleave itself. FCC high ban rate, so invest with that in mind. If you're gonna invest in Fire Cecilia for imprints of the return of Fallen Cecilia, let's say you don't have her, be wary of that. FCC will still always be I think a staple for a really long time in arena defense. Probably, maybe, I don't know. I've actually seen it change with ML Cigarette released. It's just, if you guys haven't seen my arena video, I just like, you know, ML Cigarette every single FCC team. It's just like, oh, you got a barrier, bye bye. It's amazing. So, you know, longevity of FCC, I'm not quite sure. I think overall FCC will not be a bad hero. It's just that, are you gonna invest in that? But Fire Cecilia should not be Fire Cecilia herself should not be someone you ignore either. So it's not that pull Cecilia for FCC imprints. Fire Cecilia really good now. If you build her really fast, and I mean, she's a tank. She def breaks on S1. She can attack down S2 and AoE provoke on the S3 and immunity for the full team. Very loaded hero. Definitely look into her. I have one. I just haven't really built her because I don't have the gear or the Mola. But like if I did, like let's say if I had like, you know, unlimited Mola and the gear just was, you know, fell onto my lap, I would definitely build Fire Cecilia. Very good. Rise of Monarch, also a very good artifact still. So you have that. In terms of Ludwig compared, I think Ludwig is too much setup. Maybe like a Guild War Cleave at the most, but most Guild War defense or even arena defense are anti-cleave, or at least they try to be. Otherwise, Ludwig is still a powerhouse in terms of he's technically the strongest cleaver in the game, the strongest in terms of like a, you know, one-shot wipe off the whole team capability. He is the best. But that being said, I think you definitely have to skip him. I don't own Ludwig myself, actually. I don't own him. Alright, so the very last things are some quality of life changes. Alina skin added to this shop. Still very beautiful skin. I'm gonna skip down here. Artifact journal updated. This one is probably the last thing I'm gonna talk about in terms of quality of life. That little nub is super important. I've had a guild war in the past. If you watch all my YouTube videos or watching my YouTube videos in the past, there was one guild war I inted really hard on, where at that time I only had one reviver. It was SSA or Shooting Star Kates, and I had it stacked where SSA was on the bottom. It was just how the imprint turned out, and the one I needed to revive was on top. on the top, and was a shorter sprite. So in this game, if you have a tall sprite or tall character, it actually takes up more physical space in terms of the hitbox. If it's shorter, it has a shorter or a smaller hitbox. So originally, I did not know that SSA's revive, or also her immortality skill, can be double tapped, and it will apply automatically to the one that needs a revive as a priority. I did not know that. So people on the YouTube comments, they told me about it, so that was pretty funny. So what I did was, in that war, I fat fingered, even though I tried to use like my pinky, my fingernail, just to tip the top of the head of the dead character. SSA still applied the immortality / revive to herself. I was so pissed. This was still a same problem. I had the same thing happen in another guild war, now like more recent, but I got it right. It was, my Renewal was on the bottom as well. Again, just how the imprint turned out. I needed to revive the character on the top, but my backliner was also dead. So I didn't know how Renewal's AI would function in terms of the revive, so I didn't want to risk a double tapping the revive skill. So I also had to do, because Renewal, you can even see there in the image, Renewal is actually very tall. She's very long. She was also blocking the hero in the back where Crow was standing. So my Renewal is where Haste is standing. The character I wanted to revive was where Crow was standing, and I had a dead one in the back. So both of them were highlighted red in terms of like, oh, these two you could revive. I can imagine with this little nub, it's gonna basically make it a lot easier. We're gonna call it the nub. It's gonna make it a lot easier to revive a character. So hopefully no one fat fingers that. I'll have to test that hitbox myself, but anyways, I'm just saying that this is actually something that when I saw this, I think a lot of people on the live stream were reacting. They're like, poggers! Definitely a worthy change. You know, it's like little things like that, man. Epic 7, good job. Little things like that. Anyways, I think that's pretty much it that I wanted to cover. Yeah, so I mean, I think the big thing is, honestly, I mean, the buffs are big. The hero buffs, not as big as last patch, but definitely going to see some changes. The Automaton tower changes, you guys hear my thoughts on it. It's going to be fresh. I just don't know the longevity of it. Is it going to be more of a chore than it is fresh? Just like Hell Raid, you know? Hell Raid, when it was like all the bosses released. Woo! We got Hell Raid! Now, I mean, I talked about it to people on Instagram, just like, what do you guys feel? Do you guys feel the same thing I feel? You log in, you know, kill the bosses, warp out. Like, you don't even kill the mini bosses anymore. Like, I don't know, that's me sometimes now. Let me know what you guys think about the new Automaton tower changes. I think it's gonna be exciting, like I said. I just worry about the longevity. Archdemon Mercedes, the gold transmit stone for that time spent as one thing. I think that's pretty cool. I will, like I said, make my Politis video. I keep forgetting her name. I keep thinking it's Politia, but that's the location. Politis video on a separate video. So if you guys are looking forward to my thoughts on that, watch that one instead. In terms of the video recording here, I'm gonna end this. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the next RBTL.